Hello, everyone, and welcome back to season 2 of Refill with Preach Sista. I'm your host, Michelle. And twice a month, I invite a guest to join me in the studio for conversations that inspire us to deepen our faith and to care for our souls. This season, our conversations have been focused on lessons learned from major life events and on what these events have taught us about life, faith, and ourselves. So, if you're looking for a little inspiration, or if your spiritual cup is just, a little empty or a little less full, we invite you to join in this conversation. I'm so excited about our guest today because this guest she's just fabulous. That's all I got to say. She is just fabulous. We go back, I don't even remember when we first our paths first crossed, but what I know is that we need to get together a little bit more often because every time we get together, it's like we don't have enough time for conversation. But so it's like, well, who is this person? I'm so glad you asked. Our guest today is none other than Pastor Shavaun Savage from Great Lakes Kingdom Ministry. She is an anointed woman of God, and she's just ready to jump into a conversation with us today. So, hey!
Hey, hi everybody. Happy holidays. Happy Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of it. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And don't forget the new year. Because
New year.
we got to bring in a better 2022. Now
Listen.
we got a little excited. So if we remember like January 1, 2020,
Right.
how excited everybody was. And I'm sure y'all, like I was, like 2020, we had all our ministry themes. 2020 vision.
Clarity. We doing it by force. We tearing it up in
We
2020.
doing it. That's right, because we can see it. And then we said, "Oh, it's 2021." Woo!
Right.
Thank
Woo,
you.
thank you.
2020 is over. It's a new season. It's a new day.
Right.
We
Right.
said,
We coming up. Going forth in 21.
yeah, and then it's like, well, maybe not.
Going forth with this Zoom.
Yes. So now that we are getting ready to approach 2022, I think what we are learning is humility.
Listen.
I think we are learning humility.
You that is so precious. I want to say that I thought what I knew, I know nothing. That's what I learned.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Refill with Preach Sista today.
Thank you for
This
having me.
is this way of doing ministry is something that is new to me. Even though I've been doing it for a year now, it's still something that is new because things change all the time. But I find that it is a way to stay connected with people and a good reason to reconnect with people. So I am so
Right.
glad that you said yes when we asked you to be on the show today. And this show, this season, we're in season 2. I learned that from my daughter to, name the
Congratulations.
seasons. So this is season 2. And with season 2, our focus is on major life events and how they have shaped who we are today. But before we get to that, I wonder if you would just tell everyone just a little bit about who you are.
Wow. Just a few minutes.
Yeah,
I'm so happy to be with people. I'm so happy to be with people during this season. I don't know if I have just a few minutes. I'm Shavaun Savage. As my big sis said, I am co-pastoring with my husband, Rodney L. Savage, who we are both senior leaders at Great Lakes Kingdom Ministry in beautiful Muskegon, Michigan. We are in our 17th year, and we thank and praise God for that. I'm very excited to be with you. We have a loving congregation, non-denominational, charismatic, inspiring, and kingdom-minded. We also have 3 beautiful adult children. They're getting closer to their mother's age, so I'll be their big sister here pretty soon. I also have 4 beautiful grandchildren that I'm so thankful to have. I tell my friends, if we could have grandchildren first, we really could do some great things in the earth. But I know God does all things well. I'm just playing. Just a love for people. My heart is to see people of God and people of purpose rise to their full potential, doing what they believe they are created to do. And I hope that I'm a conduit for that. And so I also have a women's ministry, Kingdom Minded Women of Purpose. And I'm thankful for this live stream because I'm learning more about doing connection activities with like-minded believers as well. So I'm just happy to be here, sis, and happy to be with your beautiful audience.
Oh, yay! I'm so excited. Just wait. I will tell you everything I know about StreamYard, which might not be a whole lot, but and this is how it is. When we learn about something, we pass it on to other people.
Yes.
So it was my friend who was doing ministry in Louisville, doing Sister to Sister, her ministry. She had me as a guest on her show, and she was using StreamYard. I said, oh, okay, as soon as we end this broadcast, we need to have a conversation.
That's true.
I need to know how this works. So
That's
she has shared everything that she knew with me. And
Right.
so I am happy to share everything that I know with you about this, because this is like, oh, Lord, thank you. It just makes it just so much easier. So
totally impressed. Because we are definitely people of this type of connectivity now. That's what we definitely have learned over the last 20 months for sure.
Yeah. And it's not going to change anytime in the future, because some people are like just used to like, what, I don't have to leave the house. Okay, I'm good. Or
all dialed up here and chilling down.
Shh. But then also, just understanding that people's lives are busy, right? And there are some times where it's not wise to multitask, but there are other times when it's good to multitask. I can't tell you how many times when I'm at work, I'm playing a sermon in the background as I'm doing my work, right?
There you go.
So we can listen in on a show.
Sure.
We can listen in on those things that can inspire us as we're doing other things too. So this is amazing.
It's true. It is. It's amazing.
So let's get back to this, theme for season 2, which is, if you're willing to share, what has been a major event in your life that has shaped who you are today?
That is a loaded question. When I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, wow, that's really an interesting question. It's a needed question though, because it helped me to gather my thoughts and to think about why is Shavaun who she is today.
Yeah.
I believe that major moments in my life, I've seen such strong women stand up in the midst of things that maybe socially seemed impossible. We're thinking about single parenting. We're thinking about leading a family, maybe with sick loved ones and different things like that has happened over everyone's life. Watching losses happen.
Yes.
I'm not even referring to recently. I'm talking about even in growing up. But it's moments like that where I saw a village and a community come together and support in the midst of loss, support in the midst of devastation, support in the midst of failures, letting people know that, listen, I got you. I'm praying for you. This experience or this single experience will not define who you are becoming or who you will evolve into. So those types of moments that happen probably, I would say, a lot in my life, where it may, of course, there's people that has happened to more, but I'm realizing that those type of experiences have caused me to stand up even in the midst of adversity and challenge.
I'm so glad you shared that. How seeing a community come around you and seeing a community come around other people in times of, life is unpredictable. We have a plan. God has other plans. And then sometimes it's not God, it's just us. It's the choices that we
got to put
have
them on
made.
it, but yeah.
It's the choices that we have made.
You're right.
And the reason why I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that's something that I have seen in you. That is something that I've seen in you, rally around other people, to support other people.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever heard you say something critical about anybody. I've always seen you reach out with love and always a term of affection. Hey, sis, I got you. I love you.
Right.
So you being on the recipient side of receiving love, receiving affirmation, you seeing other people being surrounded by a community and a village, you too are helping to lead these villages in surrounding people
Wow.
to encourage people. So it's again, we reap what we sow,
Yes.
and we
Amen.
sow out of those things that we have reaped,
That's
right?
true.
So
That's true.
when we receive love and community,
Yeah.
we can give and share love and community to
True.
others.
That is so true. I'm going to throw this in real quick. I was going
Hmm.
through pictures in Facebook and social media. I have a lot of pictures on my social media page that I probably need to take some down. So I'm going through this, and we began the ministry in 2004. In
Wow. Okay.
December of 2000, no, October of 2005, you were one of my first speakers.
Oh wow, that's right. Yes. Yes.
Yes, remember out
Yes.
of
I do
Maranatha.
remember that. Yes.
Man, and we were all lined up. I just saw this picture this week, and I know it was God. There's no way. I'd totally
Yeah.
forgotten and all of that.
Yeah.
I know we've been together in
Yeah.
ministry,
Yeah.
but to see you standing there, and I thought, look at my sheroes, being spiritual errands and herds, and holding my arms up because I
Wow.
was new. So
Yeah.
you were showing us women of great faith in ministry before I even knew this was going to even be my assignment. And again, those types of moments where I see people building,
Mm-hmm.
encouraging, not pulling down, but
Mm-hmm.
building, you could write a book on that for sure. You really
And
could.
and I remember one of the reasons I remember that conference is because you had name tags, and I still got that name tag somewhere. You had these name tags that were, on lanyards, and I said, "Ooh, ooh, okay,
It's fancy.
this is ooh, ooh, okay, all right." She doing this right, so we encourage it, and I have found, it. I think because I've just been so grateful for everything that God has shown me,
Yeah,
allowed me to
yeah,
experience, for the sheroes in my life who have said,
yeah.
"Hey, this is I found some bread here. I'll share this bread with you. I'll
That's
share
right.
the recipe with you."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's the women that I have been involved with. There's never been any competition. It's like, hey, if I
Right.
can help you build up your ministry, let me help you build up your ministry.
That's
You
right.
help me build up mine, I can help you build up yours. There's no competition.
Right.
And so when we experience that, I get excited when I see other people, people who might have been associated with Preach Sista, and they're doing their thing, and it's like, oh yes,
Right.
look at God, right?
Right.
Just
Right.
take it
Right.
further, build higher, because we, as individual people, there's only so many people we can reach. Even with technology, there's only
True.
so many people that we
True.
can reach because of our friend circles, because of our relationships, our
True.
networks. But
Mm.
when all these networks start touching together, ooh,
Right. We
we
can.
can tear some stuff up.
We can. And of course, your conferences, again, they've always been uplifting to me, and being in attendance of them, you let me know that, listen, what your assignment is, don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah.
And that's really a strong lesson that you poured
Mhm.
into me. Don't be afraid, especially if you
Yeah.
believe that it's God.
And and I think that has perhaps been the biggest lesson that I had to learn is, if I know that that this is what God is saying to do,
Mhm.
don't worry about what it looks like, because it'll always look like it's not the right time.
There you go.
It
Right.
will always look like it's not the right time.
Say it.
And there
That's a
will
strong
always
word.
be somebody to say, "Oh, you want to do that? But so and so is doing that. So and so is doing that. They had this big conference
Right.
that's in your
Right.
backyard. You still going
Right.
to do your thing?"
Right.
It's like, all I can say is, I know God said to do this.
Right.
And I had to say, God, if you have said this,
That's
I'm
right.
going to do it.
I'm doing it.
I don't care who over there.
Right.
And what I have been able to witness, that some of these people that people were getting so excited about, because it's the big flashy
Yeah.
budget that's definitely a whole lot bigger than mine. They're not here no more.
Oh.
they
Oh.
not, they
Hey,
not,
hey,
they're
sis.
not
Hey,
here
sis.
no
You
more.
finished that sentence really well. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, who would that be?
Yeah, yeah,
Who would that be?
it's
But
like,
you've done it. You've done it, and you've
So
done it amazingly. And I, definitely have been a great template for our community and ultimately the country, because again, in our area where we live, women in ministry was definitely, when you launched out, it was like, what?
I know.
No,
So,
what?
no, are you
No,
sure about that?
no. Right.
Yeah,
And you were
yes.
sure, and you
And I
went
was
in,
sure.
and the people that needed to be there got what they needed, and then your
Mhm.
name went about. I was like, I hope she can come speak in mine, because she is that deal. She is a fearless warrior.
Woo, well, it has come with trusting God and
Yes,
having those times where I call these the shaking the tree
come
moments,
on.
when I have, like, okay, Lord, I know this has got to be you. So first it's the fleece moment, right? It's like,
That's
okay,
right.
God, if it's you,
Do
then
it.
this part here need to be wet, but this part right here need to be dry. Oh, no, no, no. What I meant was this need to be dry. This need
And
to
this
be
need to be
wet.
wet. And
Yeah.
then he goes back and does that too
Yeah,
before you
does
finish
that
the
too, right?
sentence.
It's like,
Okay,
wait,
well,
okay. So there's been those moments, and then
right.
it's like, okay, Lord, then if this is of you, this has to be you. And I don't want to mess this up. So
Right,
Lord,
right.
and I'm sure you have experienced this when you announced that launching your women's ministry, that you've probably had all kinds of people who are around you say, hey sis, if I can help you, if I, could you do something? I'm going to be there and it's going to be all that. And you say, okay, I'm counting on you. And then the day shows up and there's crickets.
Number disconnected. You blocked on Facebook.
But what I have learned, those moments happen because what I have been wise enough to do is say, Lord, shake the tree.
Shake
Shake
the
the
tree.
tree from all the fruits and the nuts.
Come on. Come
So,
on.
because I only need the people who are around me, who are for what you are for, and who aren't
Amen.
trying to be attached to Preach Sista so they can have a name, but they attach to Preach Sista because they believe that you have a word for Preach Sista, and Preach Sista has
Yes.
something to do. They're not in it for themselves.
Yes.
They'll get something out of it, but they're not
Sure.
in it for themselves. They're
That's
not
right.
trying to say, "Oh, look, I'm connected with this."
That's right.
And I believe that's also something that has happened with your ministry, right? It's like, hey, um, you don't need the people who aren't for God. It's not about you. It's about ministering to the
That's
women that
right.
God has put in your path, ministering
Exactly.
to the women who are in your orbit. You don't need nobody there who's trying to make a name for themselves.
That's all I'm
you,
saying.
you
And
just need to do this.
right, because you want them to, you want people to get what they need, and you
Yes.
hope that this is a venue that they can, or an experience that they can learn and gain more information and knowledge
Mhm.
about them. But you don't want those, like you said, that are looking for a name and trying to pull those that God has shown you to be their own.
Yeah.
You look up
Yeah.
and you have, just in a general parable, if you will, your homegirl, you hanging out at the store, you see another homegirl, you introduce her, and then the next time they're at the mall, and
Yes.
I didn't know you had her number. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it's that.
Or I've even had someone. Oh goodness, it's yeah. I think it's long enough time now that I can say this. Had someone at one of the sessions, one of the conferences, they had got up. They were going to give a testimony because there's always time for people to give a testimony. How
Sure.
has this ministry, ministered to you? What did you hear God saying to you?
Yeah.
The praise report.
Right.
You should have. They should have had me speaking. And that's like, you know what? I bet who will not get an invitation.
Right. Right. Nor a mic again to say
Nor Mike
anything.
again. That's
That's right.
right. Because that's that.
Wow.
I know. And
Wow.
it's like, I because I listen to God. I listen
Yes,
to
you do.
God. It's like, God, who
Yes, you
who
do.
are you putting me, who are you
That's
putting
right.
on my heart to
Right.
ask?
Right.
Right? We don't know. This ain't your springboard.
No, no,
Because
no, no. And you're not going to take my work that God
no,
assigned me and then act like
uh-uh,
it's your work. That's not. And
no,
you should have got me to speak. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's like, okay. I
You say
think
you say you think it's been long enough. I don't know. You shared that 2 years ago. I would have been better. I would have.
well, that's the other thing too, is that when people come up and say, here's my card, I would be a great speaker, because I'm doing this.
Right.
I have learned usually that's it doesn't resonate.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
doesn't, because
And being a woman of God, sis, you're a woman
yeah,
of God. You're a woman of God too. That would be a
yeah,
check, like, oh, let me connect, or oh, no, I'm
yeah,
good.
yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, it's, and then I tell people too, it's like, are you sure you will, be a speaker? Because anytime you show
Right.
up
Right.
to proclaim the glory of God,
Sure.
to bear witness to what God is doing,
That's right.
oh, it's on then.
It's on
The
and
attack,
popping.
the
That's
the
right.
attack is on. So
Sis.
are you
Sis,
sure?
real.
Are you
Right.
sure?
Right.
Now you might have been able to been involved in something else and nothing happened. It was all roses and everything. I cannot tell you the amount of things that have happened. It's
Sis.
like, you need to know that you know that you know that you know that you're supposed to be called to speak and be prayed up for real, so that you can praise God anyway when it looked
And
like it's going sideways.
that's right. And see what we see, and I'm included in this, especially concerning you and Preach Sister. What we see is the spirit of excellence that you walk in. You see the structure, and of course, it's always something going on behind the scenes. And so, if
Mm-hmm.
you don't say anything, nobody will know. But I also know that there's such a great battle or warfare that goes on
Mm-hmm.
when you're saying yes to this,
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
saying there's people believing praying, that people are praying for you, that's their assignment to pray, and
Mm-hmm.
that they embrace that,
Yep.
and that they're able to get us through to that end point with the help of our of our Savior, to get us to the end of the event, where
Yes.
we know, hey, to God be the glory. But that
Mm-hmm.
it didn't come served on a
No.
platter. It did
Mm-mm.
not. No.
And you are exhausted when it's over.
I could sleep 2 days. No lie. You just, I mean, out for the count. Hey,
I
let's go
know.
do dinner. No.
No, my
No.
husband has learned that when the conference is over, the house is cleaned up. There's food in the refrigerator.
Right.
The bed is made up. There's a little
That's right.
light on. There's
Right.
some music, and he's gone. He's like, I know you're gonna be out, so let
I
me
know
just
you're done. Have a good one.
have a good one.
Good job, babe. Good night.
I will see you tomorrow
Right.
when you
Right.
wake up.
Isn't that a blessing? See, that's why I
Oh, that is
love
so.
him. See, he knows, he understands. My
Oh yeah,
queen got a rest now. She's put
yeah.
in her time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, when they see you, they see your beauty. They see your love for God and love for people. But I don't think people think enough about what that
Yeah,
process was to the
yeah,
end result. Yeah,
yeah. This is a
that's
process. Woo.
it is. Yes, it
Oh,
is.
so this show is called Refill with Preach Sister. So how do you refill when you feel like your tanks are running a little low, or someone comes to you and says, I'm looks like you're always happy, or you always got a positive word.
Right.
What advice do you give to people, or what do you do for yourself to refill your tanks?
What an excellent question. First of all, I believe that we have to know that we are human.
Mm-hmm.
We have to know that it's important that once you pour out, you need to be in a place where you can receive. I thank God for my husband, because he's definitely that first point of contact after ministry.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at encouraging and pouring back in and praying for me. But again,
Oh
stealing away
yes.
without excuse. Are you going to do 12 things later on today or tomorrow? No, without explanation. Not doing that. You have to get away. I love worship. I promise you, that's probably my number one thing afterwards, after I'm thanking God for, coming to pass
Yeah.
these experiences, just putting worship on and engaging in worship. I just love the ministry of worship and song. It just tends to help begin to refresh me and
Yeah,
recharge
refresh.
me and
Hmm.
get me going. I really believe that that's something, and really doing something fun too. You
Yes.
know, always having those people that you can laugh with that love God, but they're crazy too, like me.
Yeah.
So yeah, being able to do those things are very important, especially when you think about ministry
Yes.
or presenting and those types of things. You must have that time to yourself without excuse, though. You know, I don't want
Yes.
to say, I'm sorry, I can't now. No, I'm not doing that today.
Right, right. And the other thing that we were talking about that refills us just before we went live is with the grandbabies. With the
Listen, now
grandbabies.
you preaching now. Now I listen, that is so true. That is true. Those grandbabies
Yeah.
will make it. We can grab a picture. I can be frustrated at work and grab a picture of my grandbabies and I'll just, shake
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm so excited.
Oh, I know you are. I can't wait. She's so cute. That baby is so
Yeah.
adorable. Good
I'm
night.
getting ready to have some extended
Yes.
time with her. So
Good.
it is I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well, Pastor Shavaun, this half hour went by fast, didn't it?
It went by completely fast. I was looking up at I was thinking, I know it's only been 10 minutes, right?
This just means you're gonna have to come back again.
Anytime, anytime. Well, now again, like with Preach Sister versus Kingdom Minded Women Purpose, you started off. Now I'm getting ready to glean from you, and then you'll come back and be with me.
Yes. That works. That works.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for being our guest today. And so, to all our viewers, I want to remind you that our next WOW Bible study, which stands for Women of the Word, we will continue our study of the spiritual disciplines. Our next session is on December 17th. And just to give you an update or a sneak peek in what's going to happen for 2022, 2021, we have been meeting the first and third Fridays of the month, but we are changing that in 2022 to the second and the fourth Fridays of the month. Just to give you a little heads up, you'll see that in the newsletter as it comes out, but just want you to know that that is what's going on. So don't miss the 17th. The 17th is going to be our last Preach Sista event for 2021. I think we'll see what the Lord says.
Right.
And then also, don't forget about the Antioch podcast. A new episode drops every Thursday. And we have also on the Antioch podcast been talking about spiritual disciplines as anti-racist practitioners. So that's something that you will want to be mindful about. And then just want to say, there's so many ways that you can connect with Preach Sista. You know the drill because you've been watching this for a while. So you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our newsletter, the Wild Bible Study, all that good stuff. And I just want to say from my household to your household, just wish you a Merry Christmas this season. And I know that Christmas time can be a time that can be a little sad for people, but I want to encourage you, especially this third week in Advent, too, as we're concluding this third week of Advent, is just thinking about joy and what joy you might be able to, determine to have in spite of joy. Really think about having a joy that comes from the Lord and not comes from your circumstances. Because if we start thinking about circumstances, all of us gonna be sad. But if we can start thinking about who God is and all that God has done and what it means that Christ has come and Christ is coming again, we'll find a reason to smile. So again, thank you so much for being with us today on Refill with Preach Sister. We'll see you next time.